Okay? Recording us both. And I know you're recording me. Okay? This has been a hell of a week for me.
Gotcha.
Alright? Alright. It's been a hell of a week for me. I'm going to stand away from you. I don't want to ever think that I'm being aggressive.
Alright.
Alright. Last Sunday I had the kids here. It's about once every couple of years I have the kids here. We had a ball. My neighbors couldn't stand it. Okay? They can't stand it. I live here single. I don't have a wife and kids. I never have.
Alright.
This houses are my wife and kids. Okay? Now, about 2 days ago, well, last week on Thursday or Friday, a golfer stepped across the line and pushed me.
Okay.
Alright? I haven't heard a thing since. I had a policeman here. He's on the SWAT team. He was about 45 years old. He came back later that night, which pissed me off because at 8 o'clock at night, what are you coming back with backup for? After I spoke with you all afternoon, we had a civil conversation. You were here for an hour. Why did you come back at 8 o'clock at night with backup? All right, without telling me that, yeah, we got the guy. We found him. I haven't heard a thing. Now, I want to show this to you. This is my DD-214.
Okay.
I was in the Marine Corps from May of 1968 to May of 1972. I am an official Vietnam veteran. Okay? All right? Let this idiot know. I'm sorry I said idiot, but that's the way he was yesterday. Now.
Is the guy that met at the golf course or the...
The guy, you got to understand, this is a Midwest colony here. This is a colony of Midwest people. They're all together. I'm a New Yorker. Midwest people are very soft with each other. They get offended. They have thin skins. When they do something wrong, if you say something to them, they're offended immediately. I'm a New Yorker. I lived in Boston. I've been in New York. I've been in Philly, Pittsburgh, all over the country, and I was in the Marine Corps. People back east aren't afraid to call you on something. If they see you stealing golf balls out of the lake, when you walk back onto your yard, they go, hey, what are you doing? That's a common lake. Quit stealing golf balls.
Right.
That's what I did to this guy, and I didn't do it that way. I waited over a year and a half before I started videoing or having any trouble with him. But this guy, right there, 2 houses down, initiated, and like I said, I had a problem with the golfer. Nobody's gotten back to me. You know what I feel? That golfer who pushed me on my yard was a townie, a Buckeye townie. Probably an old drunk that's a friend of the mayor, and we're not going to go after him, we're not going to do anything, and that's why we haven't gotten back to you. I got a video of this guy pushing me. The policeman that took the thing got a video. Instead of calling me and saying we're going to come over, he comes here at night in the dark, rings my bell, and he's got a backup that stood here the whole time. Why? Why? Is that procedure with the Buckeye police at night? Why would you show up with backup?
We can show up at 3 or 4, we'll do it.
Well, yeah, well, the thing of it is, you think I'm dangerous. Everybody, that's why this injunction...
I've never met you, sir.
Well, I'm trying to get across...
What can we...
All right, here, and one more thing I want you see my DD-214. All right. Now, this is my mugshot where I got arrested 6 years ago and 6 days away. 6 years ago and 6 days away, I got arrested right there because I was walking on an access easement that they all refused to recognize. So I started walking there, and because I had an altercation with a golfer 20 months earlier, they didn't know how to stop me from walking there because I had a legal document that said I had a right to walk there. The people that live in that White House called the police and said he's peeking in our windows 4 hours a day. I got a video of this guy telling the policeman that I was peeking in his window 4 hours a day. Now, see that right there? Okay. Now, can you imagine the betrayal I feel for my government after showing you my 4-year? My record up to the day I got arrested here was so clean you had to wear sunglasses to look at it. I never had to put on any kind of job interview up to 64 years old that I'd ever been arrested in my life. never been incarcerated, the cuffs on me or anything. Now, this was done, and when I got out of jail, when they took me to 4th Avenue Jail, because I didn't know I had a warrant out, I never got served. You understand? They looked back, when they found me walking there, they went up to the mayor, and the mayor went in and said, what do you got on this guy? We don't want him walking there. This is a knee-jerk reaction. We want him arrested. Whatever you got on him, well, he had an altercation with a golfer 20 months ago. Good, arrest him. So, when I got out of jail, 4th Avenue Jail, and the reason I couldn't bail myself out down here is I had no clue that I had a warrant on me. No clue. Nobody sent me a summons. So I spent 4 days in jail, and this old career policeman who worked for Maricopa County Sheriff's Office and was retired and working for Buckeye Police come up to me and he goes, no problem, just call somebody up. Call somebody up, have them come down here with $500 cash, and you'll be out on the street.
Right.
Well, I'm a loner. I don't have any friends. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have anybody that's got a landline. When you get arrested, you got to call somebody that's got a landline. You can't call and collect on a cell phone line. So I get down to the thing, they chain me to the bench, and they go, call somebody and have them come down and bail you out. Well, first of all, I had no clue that I was ever being served. I never got served. So you fucking ambushed me. You ambushed me, you sucker punched me, you got me in here chained to the bench on a warrant that I was never served on. This was a knee-jerk reaction ordered by the mayor. All right, it was ordered by the mayor as a knee-jerk reaction to keep me from walking down through there. All right, now, I've had everybody in the world tell me how I get wound up and how I spool and how excited and passionate I am.
Can we talk about what you...
Yeah, okay, now, all right, yesterday, because, and the guy that served me, was very nice and gracious. He gave me about an hour and a half. But this is my new neighbor.
All right.
I used to own all 3 of these houses. 15 years ago, I came out here and bought all 3 of these
Let's
houses.
get to the
All right, that guy right there,
Okay.
who lives there, he just moved in about 6 months ago. We have a very cordial, friendly relationship. Whenever he's outside on his patio and I'm outside on my yard, I don't see him about once every 2 weeks. Whenever we see each other once every 2 weeks, we talk about everything. Okay? We're good friends.
Good to hear.
So, what I did yesterday morning was, I think it's ridiculous that I have this. I have a man that lives 40 feet away and I can't look at him, talk to him, have anything to do with him, and he lives 40 feet away.
Is this your neighbor we're talking about?
Yeah, the guy down there. All right, now, I got my first neighbor, the second neighbor, 2 houses down, put this on me, laid this on me, okay? So, yesterday morning when I saw my neighbor here, I felt it was my duty to warn him of the character of his neighbor. I took him out and I said, you see this? If you ever get in an argument with your neighbor, here's what he's capable of. All right? And we were sitting there going through the thing, and I was showing him all the particulars, everything that was said on here. And I even went up there, and I'm going to ask you, this is Buckeye Court produced paperwork. This is the complaint. Can you read that?
Let's see here. 1 second.
Can you read any of that text down there? That's the complaint. That's what I have to take to a lawyer, and I can't even read it.
I personally, I can read it. I know it's a
Yeah,
little...
but come on.
Well, that's
This
your
is
question,
the-
right?
Yeah,
Are you asking
you're
your
the
question, right?
Buckeye Court.
Okay.
You're the Buckeye Court. You put me under, more or less, I'm going to be arrested if I violate anything on here. I'm going to be arrested. Now, I was showing him this, and the next thing I know, the man who generated this
Right.
goes home every summer. He's from Wisconsin. The guy that stuck his nose in the conversation between me and my neighbor yesterday morning is from Wisconsin. When that guy, 2 houses down, goes home for 3 months, the guy that's 5 or 6 houses down babysits his house. He comes out every week. He makes sure no broken glass or anything. They're buddies. They're Wisconsin buddies.
Gotcha.
All right? So, I'm sure that he coached this guy how to get this injunction. The way this guy got the injunction, the way the guy got the injunction was after he strip mine the lake of all the golf balls. He knows I'm gonna be up on my property with my camera.
Okay.
Now, this injunction says I can't operate a camera on my property. It says absolutely, you can't videotape them. Even if you're on your property, you can't videotape them.
Okay.
All right? Now, that's ridiculous. I'm on my property. I have golf balls and people coming in my yard all the time. If I want to run a video camera on my property, now what happened, he got done stripping the lake. He had about 30 balls in his bag, walking up the lake. Somebody told him, get a camera out and walk right up to his camera. Instead of walking up to his patio with the balls like he always does, he takes his cell phone out down at the lake and all the way up to my yard, he's got this thing pointed up to my yard. Now he comes up to me, I'm on my property, all right, there's the property line, there's my friend's property line, there's my property, I'm standing there with a camera. This guy walks all the way from the lake and stands there for 10 minutes holding the camera in front of my face. All right? Do you know what I fucking do? That's the Marine term that we, I fucking area. He's I fucking my patio and me with his camera for 10 minutes not saying nothing. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's provocation. As far as I'm concerned, he's baiting me to say something to him.
Okay.
He's on the golf course, he's not on his lot, he walked directly up to me, and he keeps holding his camera and he doesn't say anything. So I start responding, I go, Al, did you pay a greens fee to have those balls? Al, you're on private property, you're on a golf course. What are you doing pointing the camera to me? Do you know you're looting the ball? Well, he just held the camera and he let me go and he let me go. But he was baiting me. He baited me, and this is what I got. He took that video now out of context in there and had the judge issue a warning that I was abusive to him. He walked up to my lot and stood there for 10 minutes, and then he turned the thing onto my patio. He put it on my patio and took a movie of that. I don't do anybody's patio. When I videotape him, when he gets to his property line, the video stops. Okay? Now, Mr. Dan Warner, his advocate, when he saw me and my new neighbor out here talking and discussing this, the people weren't going to come out of that house. They were watching everything. And so they called up their friend and they said, you better get down there. He's got him all by himself with the injunction. He's pouring a lot of things in his head. You better get down there. And all of a sudden, this guy, Dan Warner, who I don't have anything to do with, they've been here as long as me. I've been here 14 years. They've been here 14 years. When they put the sign in and they closed this to golf carts 2 years ago, I quit talking to all my neighbors. Because not one neighbor complained. Not one neighbor stood up and said, we pay dues to use that golf cart path. All right? You did that, and as 6 months later, both of the houses on each side of the path, the white one and the brown one, each sold in one day. The white one sold for $300,000, the other one sold for $220,000 in one day. They didn't even have the thing. You know why they sold fast? Because they put that sign up. They made it private. They restored it to what it was 10 years ago. So, I've been screaming at the HOA, the town of Buckeye, everything else about it for 7 years, and nobody's doing anything. So when he saw me giving this guy a lecture, he immediately walked. I see this guy. I thought it was an old man coming down on me. He walked out of his lot down there and walked the whole distance just like this as fast as he could and come up and got into our case conversation. Then he started in. He goes, you're making a big deal out of this. You know, you were set up before. He admitted to the guy. He goes, you were set up. You know what that setup was? This right here. This was a setup. He admitted. He said, you were set up before and sent to jail. You're going to be set up again. If you don't lay off this guy and leave him alone, I said, he's a moocher. He's a poacher. He's a turd in a punch bowl. The only person that sweeps this lake. Well, what do you care? You're picking on a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran. That's when I went back and I said, I'm a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran. And he scoffed at me. He scoffed at me like, you know, veteran. Right? And he kept it up. And I said, why don't you go back up the lot? You're not invited into this conversation. You don't belong in this conversation. I haven't talked to you in a year and a half. I don't talk to you, I make a habit of not talking to you, but because I've got my neighbor's ear out here with this injunction, you're gonna come down and stick your nose in, and it got very heated. Now, I've had 4 cops here in less than a week. All right, 1 cop here, I showed him a video of a guy attacking me, I haven't seen him since. All right, I haven't seen him since. But the police department can make sure that I got an injunction. They don't go looking for a guy that attacks me on my course, but we're not going to go after golfers. That golf course is open for business, and we're open for business here in Buckeye. So any golfer that walks onto your property attacking you, we're not going to bother him. We're going to leave him alone. He's good for business. Well, stealing balls out of that lake every morning is bad for business.
Have you talked to the owners of the
What he tells,
the issue?
he keeps telling everybody that he has permission from the manager. Now,
Have you talked to the owners or whoever runs it?
well, that's why you should go. That's why a policeman should go. If he makes a statement, the guy is giving me permission. The police haven't gone over to this guy.
Here's the deal. If the golf course doesn't want to do anything about it, it's a private property like you mentioned, that's on them. If they want to allow Joe Schmo to be picking up the balls and taking them, that's all right. That's on them. It's a private property. If the manager doesn't want to do anything about it,
Well,
that's why
okay,
they shouldn't be
are
picking
you a
up.
golfer?
I don't golf.
No. There isn't a cop, there isn't a policeman out here that golfs. I swear to God. All right, in golf.
So here's the deal.
No, I want you to go down to this guy and say, what motivated you?
So
What motivated
I'm not
you to
gonna
go?
go down there.
Why?
I need to talk about the injunction.
Well,
again
wait,
for
wait,
after
wait,
the
no. This guy come down here and
So-
abused me verbally yesterday. He
We
come
can't-
down, he come into my conversation uninvited,
Okay.
abusing me, threatened to throw me in jail. Okay, he
What's
threatened.
your question about the
Well, I
injunction?
want you to go down.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Monday morning and I'm gonna get this all straightened out, and I have a video
When
of
did you
it.
get that injunction, sir?
Friday, let's see, Friday.
Friday?
No, Thursday.
Thursday. Have you gone in rebuttal with the judge?
Well, that's the thing, they give it to me on Thursday and everything's closed on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
I went over there today, I went over to Yuma Road today and it was all locked up, that's why I had to call you. But the thing of it is, I'm a taxpayer, I'm a citizen, I own 3 houses here, I pay taxes on 3 houses, I pay taxes on dues. When I'm having a private conversation with my neighbor, what the hell is this guy who doesn't ever talk to me and I've never talked to him, invited himself in to translate this to the guy. He wasn't going to let me talk to this guy alone. He came down and he says, you're going to jail. We're going to put you in jail again. If you keep this up, you're going to jail. Now, all I want you to do is go down to the guy and say, he wants to know why you went down there. And when he asked you to leave the conversation, you weren't. He reminded you weren't invited. You were on golf course property. You walked down here on a
So where
private
did this conversation actually take place, sir?
right out here. Come here. Show that. No. About that, I have no issue except that any anxiety, any attitude, any spooling I do emotionally, this is the basis for it. When I get up in the morning, I got a picture to remind me what the Buckeye Police Department and the Buckeye government is like. Okay? When I got out of jail, I got up in front of Michael Lester and I went up as humbly as I could. 64 years old in front of a judge who's about 45. About 45 years old. I'm 20 years older than him. And I go, Your Honor, I had no idea that I had a court date. You arrested me for that. I had no idea I had a court date. And this little wise-ass punk judge pulls up my summons and goes, of course you did. Here's your summons here.
Well, like I
We
said,
never sent it to you.
Well, it can't be for the judge or what the process of the...
Well, that's what I'm saying. Any emotion that you see or anything when you see I get wound up, this is going to my grave.
Right.
There's 4 websites that want $500 each to remove this. Joe Arpaio sold this to those websites. It's mass production down there. We arrest people so we can sell their mug shots to websites. And now, anybody I meet, a girl or what, and I can't go for a job now. I have to put down, yes, I was arrested once. And how did I get arrested? I got arrested for missing a court date that I never got served on. I got sucker punched by the Buckeye police. Now, any attitude you have against me right now as being not a citizen, I served. All right, I served. All right, well, it seems like you're getting this attitude of, I'm the boss, I'm authority, and you're not. I'm asking you as a policeman. I was harassed by my neighbor. He come down, he stuck his mind. He wouldn't leave. Just go and tell him. From now on, we've made a report, and the next time you go down and harass him, because this is how this happened. This is how this happened. There was one, the policeman came there once. He came to my house. Now, the other day with that incident, there wasn't a policeman to come to my house. They didn't investigate. This guy just went into the court and based on a year and a half ago what the policeman did. They didn't come to me. The court just said, here. What did he do? Oh, I'm a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran. I'm being harassed by this wise eye. Oh, you're a 70-year-old Vietnam. Here. Yeah, we'll give it to you. Plus, they've got a wife.
All right.
Anybody that's got a wife.
All right. This is what I'm going to leave you with, okay?
Please, go down and tell them to leave me and stay away from me. Stay away from me.
If you need to do so, you can get the same.
I'm going Monday morning. Everything I've said to you is going to be said Monday morning.
Now it's time for me to tell you what's
Well,
going to happen, okay?
You've been very patient with me and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
No, I'm serious. You're professional. You're being very professional. You're not getting wound up. You understand why, but you understand why I'm wound up.
I completely understand why, and you've explained that to me, and I've taken it into consideration
The day-
why you're wound up. Listen, Stewart, here, listen, I gotta go, and I gotta go talk to this gentleman. If you want me to do something, I gotta do it now.
Go down and talk to him.
Listen, okay.
Please.
Okay,
All right,
I will.
I'm sorry. I'm just wound up. I can't stand
Okay,
the...
Stewart, let me explain this to you, so you have an understanding of how you can take care of this, okay? You will rebuttal that with the judge. If the judge sees fit, she'll remove that infraction and harassment, alright? But, if you feel like this gentleman that you speak of is going to be ongoing issues for you, you can get that same piece of paper.
The thing of it is...
You can get the same piece of paperwork and have him clear, that way he has no further contact.
Well, I might do that Monday. I might do that Monday. I'm going to go down for the report, and I get every video, and I'm going to get this video of you and I, okay? I worked on airplanes for 35 years. We have a term called spooling up. When you start an engine, it starts out real slow, and as it spools, you spool. Let me tell you about a maintenance manager and a lead at United Airlines in San Francisco. A lead blamed the manager for the plane going late. Whenever a plane goes late, there's a big investigation. These two were from New York. We got a hangar that's as big from down to the goddamn, that White House down the end of the street. Those guys went into an office and they screamed at each other for almost 2 hours, settling, don't ever do that to me, screaming. You can hear them all over the hangar. That's what New Yorkers do. You don't do that with Midwest people. He stepped off the course that morning. I said, how many golf balls did you poach this morning? All right, he got all upset. Now, that's why I got this.
Some people aren't like New York people. Not everyone's from New York, and not everyone's going to.
Well, the thing of it is, when a New Yorker gets out here and he raises his voice, all the people from the Midwest go, he's out of
Not
line.
everyone has the same background as you, okay?
Well,
So where does this gentleman live? Which house?
well, I'm sure he wasn't in Paris. Another thing is,
Where's the house at? Like,
it's 23363.
okay, so all day you talk to him.
His
let him
name
know.
is Dan Warner. You
Dan
just
Warner.
say,
That's good.
why did you go down there? Why did you feel you had to go down there?
I'll ask him. I'll see what the
You
issue
know,
was that day. What's going on?
what motivated you to
Right.
go down and stick your nose in a conversation when a guy hasn't talked to you in over a year? He doesn't have anything to do with you. Why did you go down there?
All right, so like I said, I'll let him know the same thing. I'll let you know.
Do you have a card?
I do have a card. I can get you. All right. So
Hey,
I'll give you.
you know, what's
I'll
your
give
name?
you
Vince
Victor.
or Vic?
Victor.
Vic.
I'll go talk to him.
Personally, every policeman I've dealt with in Buckeye has been pretty cool except Officer Morrison and Officer Grant. Officer Morrison and Officer Grant, I have no respect for either one of them. They don't know their job, you have to take them out and give them more training. They need more training, okay?
All right. So we're at 233.
Dan Warner.
Dan Warner. Let him know the same thing I said.
No, I'm just on a report. When I go in there, I want to say I want the report on, I want the report that was done on Saturday if it's possible. I'd like to get that report. I want to know what he said. I want to see the video of the officer talking to why I raised my voice.
Okay, sir, have a good day.
Yeah, have a good day.